Alrighty, YouTube, we are back at it again with our Tamiya pole trailer. We're just going to finish the build this video. It's 3 videos, real short build, real easy. We finished off with 12 in our last video, step 12. So we're going to do 13 through 20, I think it is, in this video. 13 through 21. So here's where we're sitting. I've already got the tires on and whatnot. I'm not going to show you how to build the wheels, because the wheels are held together with these itty bitty screws and nuts, and they're just a pain in the butt to do on camera, so I'm just not going to show it. It's pretty easy. Good luck. So step 13 starts with us putting on this guard. So it has the trailer laying flat down, and this guard's going to go on here, and it locks into these posts there, and get a couple screws up here, and it goes together with the what screws are we using? MB18, which are the short screws with big heads. And MA12s, which are longer silver screws with coarse threads. So you're going to need 4 of the 12s and 2 of the littler guys. So to do this, it just shows you take your MB18 and put it into the hole on that bracket we hung off the side of the frame on video 1. I think it was video 1, maybe video 2. Only 3 videos, so. Alrighty, and it just sets in like that. And just don't go over tight, because again, you're going into plastic and you don't want to strip it out. So we'll do those 2. And then the 4 of them go on the front. The 4 of your little screws, your remainder screws, go on the front of it right there, like so. And then the 2 in the lower. And that's the guard for the trailer set in place. Alrighty, so just like that. And then they have us putting on our front mud guards, these guys here. You can do this one of 2 ways. Clean off this edge real quick. You could put it on and put your screws in, or you can do what I like to do, because the screws are short. You can put them in and then do a lock nut, because they're held on by lock nuts, just screwed on loosely. That way your piece of plastic just slides under it, and you can still get your hand in there to work. Just kind of push them all flat, and then that just slides in like so. like so. And you do the same for the other side. I'm just not going to do it. I'll do that on my own. So that, once you've done the grill on both sides, that wraps up step 13. And then we'll flip over to step 14, which is going to be setting up our bumper. Now our bumper is going to get 2 orange lights, one in the middle of the 3 on both sides, like so. And then it gets 2 red lights on each side. Like so. Once you've done that, you flip her over and you put your guards on. Now these guards would normally have LEDs in them. They would normally be covering where LEDs go. We're not putting LEDs in right now, so they're just going to be guards. And they're held on by 4 of the MA12s, which are your stainless tapping screws. Your self-tapping screws are 2x8. They're just little guys. Now if you choose to do lights, make sure that you don't pinch the wires when you're putting this on. They do provide holes for the wires to come out, so that way they're easier to run. And then once you've got this done, it shows you setting up your mud flap. Your mud flap goes on with the flat metal bracket, and then your flap, and then it gets pinched between your other bracket, and they're just held on by 3 of the MB18s. It's kind of difficult to do, so I just did it off video, but it's going to be this little screw here is going to hold that whole setup together. Once you've got both of those done, which we do, they go on the same way that the front ones did, and we'll use the same technique. Because they just slide on underneath the screw and nut, and it'll make, like I said, it'll make working a bit easier because you're trying to get your big fingers, well, I'm trying to get my big fat fingers into the hole while holding a screw. So you don't want them super tight to start with. You just want them started so that way you can slide that mud flap in and screw it on. So it just slides in right under the screw. Like so. Again, we're just not going to do the other side for time saving purposes, but we are going to do our bumper. Now the bumper goes on these 2 brackets that we put on earlier, and that's why we wanted to make sure that they were level or square with the frame and everything. And that's going on with the MC8s, which are longer little screws. Nope, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong parts. It's the MB14s. MA8. Nope, MA8. It's the 3x12. Alrighty, so that goes screw through into the bumper, and then you want to hold your lock nut on the other side. Like so. It's kind of difficult. But you can do it. And I'm just using needle nose pliers here. Okay. Not wanting to work with me here. There we go. So, flip it over, make sure we're even, and screw it on. Alrighty, now step 15 is building the wheels. Like I said, we're not going to show building the wheels. Step 16 is installing the wheels. They just go on using your 12 mil hex nut. Then they just screw on like any other wheel. Alrighty, now we'll set the whole truck setup aside, and we'll go ahead and build our flat portion, which is all this stuff here. This is the uprights on the truck. So to do this, we start by taking 8 of these guys. I may pause so we don't have to watch me do all 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they all get a little nut on them. And just runs all the way up. And then this gets screwed into the plastic part. And the reason they have you put the nut is that it'll act like a stop, so you don't just keep tightening. Just like that. And then one I'm pointing down. So like that. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to throw all 8 of these in real quick. And we'll be right back. Give me 1 second, guys. Alright, guys. Back at it. I've got all my caps on. Or all my screws on. I've already put one side together. It goes together the same way the mud flaps could do. You just kind of put the screw in. Put your lock or your flange nut on. Like so. And then the piece slides in and just sits like that. tight.
Lieutenant, push me in the kitchen. I'm gonna make candied apples.
I'll whip up some hot chocolate. Oh, good. It'll go great with my cupcakes. I'll start some popcorn.
Yeah, see there, Casey. Told me it turned out bad after all that.
It's going to be my best ever.
Turn that off before I forget. Alright, so you end up with something like that, and you have all your screws, hooks, pacing in, because when you wrap the chain around, you don't want the chain to come loose off of it. So once you've got those done, you grab these guys here, like so, and they sit like this, and they're sloped. You can see they're kind of sloped, so that way they take the slope out of the bracket. And those are just held together on the outside with a single lock nut or a flange nut and an MB14, which is your 3x8, which is what everything else is held together with so far. So, alrighty, now we'll flip the page. We're on step 18. So, with the bracket sitting like this, our metal plate goes like this. You want your screw holes out. You got 2 screw holes here and here. You want them facing out, not in. Like so. And then this guy here fills in the gap. Like so. And you're going to get let's see where they at. These stainless MD 12s. Or not 12s, 10s. And that goes through that hole here. And the other one goes through the other hole here. It's going to be kind of tight. And then they get a flange nut on each one. On the underside. Like so. Flange nut on this one. Like so. And put our plastic guy back in. And we grab 2 of the MD11s, which are self-tapping screws. And they go on the 2 outside holes. Like so. Alrighty. Now we're going to stick our arm on. The arm gets a lock nut put inside it. And then it gets dropped in. Just like that. Make sure your hole's lined up. And it gets in. And what did we put in there? MA9. So a bit longer of the screws. And don't worry about it popping out, because the plastic sleeve that the lock nut goes in, is designed to hold it so you can tighten it. I'll show you. So you can see it goes right here, and this guy just drops in, gets pushed in, and then gets dropped in like that. Except you gotta put your lock nut in right. Make sure when you're doing this your nylon's facing out. And we're putting in a MA9 again, which is a 310, a 3x10. Alrighty. Once that's done, they want us to take a piece of double stick paper, double stick tape. Make sure you clean your plastic up. This is just denatured alcohol. You want to make sure you clean the plastic up so that way it doesn't, the double stick tape actually sticks. Let it dry. Wipe it down again. Okay. And we're going to take the double stick and place it on the piece that's got all the bumps on it. Set it in like so. Peel it off, and then the piece of wood lines up with all the little bumps and just gets pushed in there like so. Do the same for the other side. And that's what your pipes are going to rest on. Alrighty, just like that. Camera went dead at the end of the part of the last video. What I was showing you was after you get the leg put on, you put these little hooks on, and it's to lock the chain to when you're ready. So once you've got your two hooks on, I got one there and one there, you take this part and set it down on your trailer, and then you drop the A10 in and just use a single screw through A10 and down to lock it in. And that screw is your MD8. Like so. Alright, so we'll set that aside and we'll build the portion that goes on the trailer. This is it. Like I said, it goes together just like that first portion that we built, except that there's a kingpin right here that you have to put in before you put your runners in. And it's just held in by a screw and a flange nut on the top. So once you've got that all set up, again, you're just going to put your hook on the side. On the side using this little screw, which is always awesome. Alrighty, so just put that hook on. And again, with the other leg, you drop a lock nut through. And set that in. Let's use a screw. This screw here is an MA9. Once you got that in and tight, then take your double stick and that goes right here. Like so. And it's basically just like building the portion that goes on the trailer, except for this is the one that hooks on the truck. They're identical parts basically, except for the kingpin. So press that into place like so, and that's going to go on our truck. And we're going to pause real quick, and we're going to go get the truck, and we'll build the portion that the truck gets. So, alrighty, we're back. So we're putting this particular setup on the king hauler. So what we're going to do is, if we look in the instructions, it actually says to use B12 for the Mercedes-Benz and the Aeromax, and B1 for the king hauler and Goldliner. So I've got the B1 loose, and it just slips in like the original one came out. Just slips right in. But before we do that, we want to make sure we put our nuts in the back, so that way our screws for the bumper line have something to get into with a fair amount of ease. And then you're going to want to put this on first with the bumper loose, because you're going to need to be able to see what you're doing. You don't want to knock these nuts out. They're going to be a pain in the butt if you do. So, let's get this one started. Then we'll get this one started. Alrighty. So now that we've got those in, get them nice and tight. I'm going to put our bumper back on. Oh wait, don't put our bumper back on yet. We want to put our lock nuts on and install our bumper piece that are going to hold the trailer. Come on. Yeah, that's going to be, ooh, going to be a bit hard, obviously. And they're going to go in with MA9. So what we'll do is we'll put one in. Note that your bracket has two holes. One's little, one's big. The big's going to be the top. And that's so you can put put your pin in, your locking pin in. So this does not want to get screwed in for us. There we go. Alrighty. So keep that pulled out so you keep the nylock out. Alrighty, I'll just take it and stick her in like so. Put our screws back in and you're done. Alrighty, so I'm going to wrap this up real quick and then we'll put it on the ground and give it a run. Alrighty, that's what it looks like when it's fully done. So this wraps up our build. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Thanks for watching. It's BD Max signing off.